Hello class, welcome to week 8 of Western Civ104. And I just want to say this, that we have a lot of information covered this week. It may look a little overwhelming at first. I always want to remind you that I don't grade, you will not have an exam that makes you memorize tons of things. What I'm trying to get you to do is to become familiar with or have some sort of general understanding about the topic of Western Civ, and hopefully as you get more interested in educating yourself, when you go over more thoroughly these topics in the future, you will recollect, or something will be recalled in your brain that you were exposed to some of these topics that are very important. So, I have this long documentary, 2 hours, that you're supposed to watch on Islam in Europe. It's a great documentary. It's very informative. I think you'll find it interesting. I do suggest that you watch my lectures first on Islam and then watch the documentary, okay? And then inside the lectures, I have embedded some documentary clips on the Rus Vikings in Russia, Swedish Vikings, and that you should find interesting. I'm covering a lot of information. I realize that even all those church councils from last week were probably just the whole debate about the nature of Jesus. I'm sure it hurt your head. So here's what did I want you to learn from last week? I want you to understand that the church councils were important, and yet many of the Christian churches were split during these councils based on various very minute debates about the nature of Jesus or other aspects of Christianity, and that, and then also I wanted you to also then start really thinking about the difference between Eastern Rome and Western Rome, and the various ways in which the Roman world left its legacy behind. And Islam, we bring up, is very important. This is not just being brought up to try to to support the multicultural view of the world, so in the middle of Western Civ we just randomly bring up Islam. No. I mentioned this, I believe, in one of my lectures. It should be mentioned if I didn't, in one of my recorded ones. No, I think I did. But this would be like talking about the West or the United States during the Cold Wars and having no discussion of the Soviet Union. You can't separate the discussion. And I'm actually not trying to tell you that Islam is the Soviet Union in terms of me making a moral equation. The Soviets were seen as the bad guys in American discourse, and I'm not saying Islam then was the bad guy. I'm actually not even saying the Soviet Union was the bad guy, or that it wasn't the bad guy. What I'm saying though is that we're talking about empires at odds with each other, and at the same time, that also very much influence each other. One of the things that I will always bring up is that the non-Islamic world, the West, and the Islamic world often both don't give credit to each. We influenced each other. There's just no question about that historically. And historically in the Islamic world, there are many things that came from the West that were incorporated into Islamic majority countries. And vice versa, there are many things that are incorporated into the Western world that are a byproduct of influence from Muslim majority countries. So we have to have an understanding of each other better to understand our own cultures, and so that I want you to come in there thinking about that. I also then go into discussion about Russia being the odd man out in the European context. And if you just really think about it, actually, like the Slavic world, Eastern Europe, from the Balkans to Russia, takes on a very different kind of culture. Hitler was a racist against Slavs, and so there's just been, but that comes out of a long tradition, just as long as the tradition of hating Jews in many ways. Maybe not as long, but Europe, now the white nationalists try to almost fantasize about this pure white Christian Europe. Well, they haven't always been getting along, as I've been discussing, and I will keep bringing that up because this is a topic now. But I'm throwing out more information too much. Just needless to say, I want you to just kind of relax, focus on taking notes, try to maybe focus on things that interest you more than other things, and then if you have questions and you want to elaborate on anything that you've learned, then let me know, because I do cover a lot of information for you on this. And so just remember, you don't need to memorize it all. Try to get the gist of the information being put before you. Okay, that's all I have to say. Have a good week.